Hi, Liz. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's been a while. We haven't done careers in coffee for, gosh, probably going on a month here.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Where's Waldo hat today.
I like it.
Where's careers in coffee today?
Exactly. Yeah. And are those the like blue light filtering glasses you got on too?
Yeah. Just
Protected
trying
guys.
every device I can use to keep me healthy and happy right now. Got my
There you go.
blanket.
Yeah. And I know you're coming off a little bit of being sick, so we're glad to have
Yeah.
you back at semi full strength.
Yeah, I'm feeling better now.
Cool. Well, I'm having an afternoon coffee. I don't know what you got going. Um, Figured I'd power through the afternoon with another cup of Joe.
Right on. What are we talking about today, Dan?
Well, I'd like to talk about cover letters a little bit. So I was reading an article, and I'll share it in the show notes. It was basically about some creative tips writing an effective cover letter. And I have the article up here on my other screen, but it was basically saying that human resource managers or recruiters, they're always reading the same things in cover letters, right? Like the same opening, lines. And so what this article was saying was basically get creative. So some of the things they mentioned would be like avoid boring or overused openers, be lively and personable, communicate that you'll bring something to the company. So those were a few of the things they brought up. And I actually want to do a little exercise with you.
All right.
And we're just going to go for it. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want to see what you say here. And then we're going to translate that over to a cover letter. So,
Okay.
Tell me about something in your life that you are most proud of.
Okay, so there's a lot. I've got a few years on you, so I've had a few more experiences, but I would say one of my more recent, like really proud of moments was getting my master's degree in instructional design and technology. It took me 5 years to get my grad degree, and because I was working full time and had multiple children, and and getting that degree was really a lot of effort. But I was glad that I finished. My mom had worked towards a grad degree as well when I was in high school, and she did never finish. So I felt like, hey, I'm doing this for me and I'm doing it for mom too. So it was kind of cool.
That's awesome. And you were obviously very busy at that time. Why do you think you're so proud of getting your master's degree?
I think just because I went for it, we were chatting about earlier, like one thing I realized was that there's a big difference between saying you're going to do something and actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very easy to kind of relax into making plans and,
Sure.
imagining the future, the way those plans will work out magically, but not actually taking action to make them happen. And so at the time, the reason I wanted to get this degree was I felt like I needed more. I needed something more to move myself along in a career path because I had kind of a weird undergrad degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted something more that would help me kind of give myself permission to seek that next level for my career. So it was really more for me than I didn't expect to become like a instructional designer. I thought
Sure.
it was
So it was more
it
about
was
the
a really
accomplishment.
cool program and I enjoyed it, but I didn't know how I would use it exactly.
Sure. Yeah, you brought up a couple of really good things there. Actions speak louder than words, right? Whether you're going for that degree or saying you're going to travel more in 2022 or something like that. So
Right.
book that
Hopefully it's
flight, right?
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's kind of bring it full circle. How would this accomplishment translate to you being an awesome employee?
Hmm. So let's see. First, I would Google how to write an effective cover letter. No, I'm kidding. um, let's see. I would say, and I'm sure I wrote this in a cover letter when I was transitioning careers. It was, hey, um, I found something that was interesting to me. I pursued it and completed it. And if you hire me as an employee, you'll know someone who's going to see something through. So you can use it as like your your effectiveness at following through on something. But your most proud of event is going to be different from my most proud of event or from Dan's. And so you really just have to figure out, okay, what about this experience taught me something? And is that something that I continue to use? And for me, it was like with this particular degree, I really understood how I learned more about how people learn. And knowing that is really important to my job as a manager and, just a lot of the things that I do at my current role and previous roles that I've had too. So you can kind of walk that back from wherever your goal is.
Yeah, sure. So I really like that. And I think adding in some personality of, something that you're really proud of. It's usually really easy to talk about something that you're really proud of too, right?
Yeah, you get excited yourself, right?
Yeah. You're like, wow, you kind of look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that almost. So, if you're struggling to write a cover letter, I would start right there and tell an employer or potential employer, like, why you're so proud of this accomplishment and how that's going to translate over into you being an awesome employee for them.
So what if you don't have like a work related thing that you're proud of?
Yeah. I guess that kind of be me. I guess if I'm thinking about one of my most proud moments, it's playing golf in college, being a student athlete in college. That was a huge accomplishment for me. And I know in the past, I think on my cover letter that you received from me several years back, I talked about probably things like time management and how when I was in college, I didn't have the normal college lifestyle. I was having to get up to work out at 6 a.m., like 4 days a week or sometimes 5 days a week. And I would be traveling half the week for part of the year, part of the semester. So I learned a lot of things like time management, and it just gave me, a very unique perspective on being competitive, and I think that translates over into the workplace too, right? So I guess that would be like my most proud moment, and that's what I would write in my cover letter too.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good example to show how something that doesn't seem particularly related to like any certain career path could be applicable to a cover letter. But does anyone write cover letters anymore, Dan?
That's a great question. So I was actually thinking about this, and I think the first question I asked you earlier this week was like, are cover letters dead? Because I see like a lot of times employers you don't always need a cover letter to apply anymore. A lot of times just the resume. And here's where I'm at with that. I think if there is a blank space or a place to upload something, attach something, you should do it.
Yes.
Because if it's not required, go above and beyond.
Right.
Do something more than what 95% of everybody else is doing, and you'll probably stick out from the crowd.
Absolutely. And I think a cover letter is something that you could maybe even translate into like your LinkedIn profile. You've got that like paragraph on LinkedIn or your social media that you can say a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about one of your proudest moments would be a really great thing to include in that, just to give somebody a sense of who you are, because that's what they're looking for when they're trying to determine what candidates to interview. But yeah, that's one thing that we've been hearing from the job seekers in the market are like, I submit my resume and I don't hear anything back. And while it's unfortunate that sometimes that happens, for one reason or another, the employer doesn't like do an outreach on every single applicant. It would be in your best interest to go ahead and include as much as you can, especially if it's a job that you really want. Like there might be some that you're applying for and you're not quite sure, maybe this is right for me, maybe this isn't. But for those ones that you really are motivated and like, okay, this, I can see this actually really, I can see myself interviewing for this position. If you can see yourself interviewing for the position, just go full guns on it, like
Yeah.
do a cover letter, do a good resume, like organize your resume so that it immediately fits the criteria that they're looking for as best you can. And, reach out to someone at the company over LinkedIn, say, hey, I'm interested in this position. I submitted my resume. I want to, if you could tell me more about the position, I'd love to hear about it, things like that.
Yeah, I love it. And I was just thinking as you were saying that, I think in your cover letter, we talked about just describing your, proudest achievement, but what if you got really descriptive with it too? So I'm just thinking back to like, my example was like golf, but what if I let off, dear, so-and-so, my palms were sweaty as I stood over a 4 foot, I don't know, maybe that's not the right example, but what would you think? Like, would that be a really, get descriptive with what you're trying to say, go into detail?
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It might be worth it'd be worth a shot. I think you kind of have to mirror the culture of the company that you're applying for. And the HR person that's reading that cover letter may not be the right person for that cover letter. But I do remember working at previous companies, like when I worked at a marketing firm, like there was a cover letter that went around the office.
Yeah, sure.
And it was like, have you read that? That's amazing. This was amazing. And they did hire that person. So I never actually got to see the cover letter, the infamous cover letter, but it was something that went around and everybody was like really excited about it. So it could pay off in a really good way, depending on the role that you're looking for.
Cool. I love it. Okay. Any last words before we sign off Careers in Coffee this week?
Yeah, I just say, keep at it, guys. This is a really rough time of February in Iowa. It's like the winter's giving everything of its last moments at us, and it's easy to kind of look out the window and be like, nope, not today. But if you keep at it, there's a lot of roles a lot of new postings that are happening every day in our community. So if there's not something today, let's stay positive. Something's going to be around the corner for you that's going to fit your skills. So, and if you don't see anything, reach out. Let's work together and try to figure something out for you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, Liz, thanks a lot. Cheers. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
You too, Dan. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.